paper? Yes, in this today's question paper, we are going to see these two topics, lenses and metallurgy. And now I hope you can see on the screen that the PowerPoint presentation for the same. So we are going to start with our first question from the unit test. And that is the first question. As all of you know that it is the MCQ question. Now, before we start, I would like to tell you that in today's discussion, we are not only discuss about the question paper, but also the topics. That means apart from that questions, what is the background for that and all this, we are going to discuss it. Okay, so let's start with the first question. It's the question says rewrite the statement by selecting the appropriate options. The first question is, for normal human eye, the near point is at, and the answer is 25 centimeter, option C. Now, you're supposed to just write the question number and you have to just write the option C. You do not even have to write 25 centimeter along with that. So be careful while attempting the first question, that means question 1A. In this question, you are not supposed to try attempt the second time. That means if you are wrong while writing the options, you should consider that it will be your that answer, whatever your answer, you will not going to get the correct mark because you already make a mistake. So do not make any mistake. Don't scribble while attempting the first question. So carefully choose the options and then only write that option into your answer sheet. Okay. So now the normal human eye, the near point is at 25 centimeter, means that a human can see the object without stress. When you keep that object, minimum distance is 25 centimeter and maximum it will be the infinity. That means the far point is at infinity. So that is why please remember, try to remember these numbers, 25 centimeter as well as the infinity. Now the next question is, in electrolytic reduction of alumina, dash and dash chemicals are used to reduce melting point. Yes, absolutely. Everybody knows the answer. That is the cryolite and the fluorspar. So as we know that the melting point of alumina is around 2000 degrees Celsius. It is around 2074 degrees Celsius. So if you want to melt alumina, you have to give that much heat. But if you add the cryolite and fluorspar, the alumina will melt at 1000 degrees Celsius. So it is the effective way to utilize the energy wisely. So that is why we add cryolite and fluorspar into while melting the alumina. Okay, so that is the option B is the answer for that. Now we go for the next question. In next question, it says, question number 3, in Wilfley table method, to separate particles of GaN, dash method is used. So that method is based on the gravitation, and that is the correct answer, as you know, because we know that in Wilfley table, the heavy metal particles will stuck into the slits of that table, and that is due to its heavy, the minerals or the metal particles, they are heavier than the GaN particles, and that is why those minerals will stuck into that slits and we can collect it at one side, and that is why the answer is the gravitation. Next question, that is the about the variable focal length of eye is responsible for. So First of all, we should know that in our eye, there is a crystalline lens, and that crystalline lens can change its focal length using the ciliary muscles. And that property is known as the accommodation of eye. So why this arrangement has been made, that we all know that though uh, we see the different things at different distances, that means every time our object distance changes, but every time we need the image of that object at a fixed distance, that is on our retina. So we have only one option, that is to change the focal length of the lens. We know that in the lens formula, they have says that there is a relationship between the object distance, image distance, and the focal length. So as the object distance changes every time and image distance is constant for an eye, only the thing is like we can change the focal length of the lens, and that is called as an accommodation of eye. So we are going to see the next question. You can also recall the definition. The capacity of the lens to change its focal length as per need is called its power of accommodation. Okay. Now the next question, that is the question number 5. When one of the metal in alloy is mercury, the alloy is called. Yes, this is again the very easy answer, and everybody knows that where this topic mentioned into the metallurgy chapter, that is the last passage. You all know that in that passage you have get this answer, and the answer is the amalgam. So any metal when get alloyed with the mercury, it is known as the amalgam of that particular metal. So if they mention here instead of metal, if they just say when sodium is in alloy with mercury, then it is called as a sodium amalgam. If it's a zinc metal, then it will become zinc amalgam. But in this particular question, they just ask us one metal, that means any one metal. So that will be the option A will be the answer for this. Okay, so now we are going to move for the next question, that is question number 1B. Now, in this question, the first sub question is the write the name, the fleshy screen behind cornea. And as everybody knows that the answer is iris. I have seen that many of the students, they are wrong at their spellings only. So students, I will say, please focus on the spelling of the keywords as well. When you write a word and you are supposed to get 1 mark for that word, then you should be very specific about your spellings as well. So in this, be careful while writing the answers of these. Now we are going to move on the next question, and that is the find odd one out. The options are given as prism, concave lens, convex lens, and the mirror. So the odd one, you have to just write down the odd term, and that is the mirror. Yes, the answer is the mirror, because we know that prism, concave lens, and convex lens, these are, that means when we were studying the when we were studying the refraction of light, we are going to see these 3 different things like prism, convex lens, and the concave lens. These things are, that means the light is passed through that and it bends. That is the thing happen in first 3 things. But in case of mirror, the light is not going to pass through that, but it will just reflect after falling on the mirror. That is why the odd term is the mirror. Now the next one is the give the formula of bauxite. Yes, again the question from the metallurgy. So it is the very favorite question. So be careful while write down the formula of the bauxite. That is the bauxite is nothing but the ore of aluminium metal. So it has Al2O3 dot NH2O or Al2O3 dot XH2O. Now here, as we know that N is represents the number of molecules of water. Similarly, it can be represented by the X letter. Sometimes you may see the X letter as well. So you can write any one of the formula. In our book, they have given the formula as Al2O3 dot NH2O. Okay, so that will be the answer for the bauxite. Now, moving to the next question, that is the define radius of curvature. So it is the straightforward question. And as in the book, they have given the definition, the radius of curvature, the radii of the spheres whose parts from surfaces of the lenses are called the radius of curvature of the lens. So in this question, you can see that when you are supposed to write down the definition in first question, you need to be a little bit specific about the words and the keywords. So just write down the definition as it is from the book. Okay. Now the next is the true or false, and the question is ionic compounds are soluble in kerosene. Now here again, this question is from the metallurgy. It says ionic compounds are soluble in kerosene. So this statement is, yes, you're correct. That is the false statement. So ionic compounds are not soluble into the kerosene. So they are soluble into the water. Yes. And that is the reason, because when water molecules are get in, that means when the water molecules get added into the ionic compound, the water molecule orient in a particular manner around the ions and they form the dissociation process. And due to that orientation, a new force of attraction is established between ions and the surrounding water molecules. And because of that, the ionic compounds get dissolved into the water. But the same thing is not happen in case of when you add kerosene or petrol into the ionic compounds, because there will be the no new attractive force will establish in those solvents. Okay, so that is why remember this is again important. Ionic compounds are soluble in water but not soluble into the kerosene. So now we are going to move on to the next question. That is the question number 2A. So in this question, we are supposed to attain any two questions out of three. Okay, so the first is the coins are made from an alloy. Now again, you have to be very specific while writing down the answer. So let's see what is the reason why the coins are made from an alloy. So first we have to mention about alloy. So what is the alloy? The homogeneous mixture formed by mixing a metal with other metal or non-metal in certain proportion is called an alloy. Then, to decrease the intensity of corrosion of metal alloys are used. Now here you can see, what is the purpose? Homogeneous mixtures of purpose guide. So the purpose is to decrease the intensity of corrosion, because we know that metals are corrodible. That means they are corrodible, and to avoid that, we have to mix them. Okay, if you mix metal or non-metal, then the alloy will form, and its intention is to decrease the property of metal of corrosion. Okay, now the coins can be used anywhere, as we know that, and it need to sustain in all weather conditions and also resisting to the effect of temperature, water and air. We know that हे कॉइन्स जे आहेत ते कुठेही वापरले जातात, कसेही वापरले जातात, त्याच्यावर मेकॅनिकल डॅमेज पण होत असतं. इवन द टेम्परेचर, वॉटर, एअर ह्या कंडिशन सुद्धा चेंज होत असतात. टू सस्टेन ऑल दीज थिंग्स कॉइन्स नीड टू बी रेझिस्टिव्ह. ओके, सो त्यांच्यामध्ये ती रेझिस्टिव्हिटी यायला पाहिजे अगेन्स्ट करोजन. दॅट इज वाय वी यूज द अलॉयज. देन you can give the example also. The stainless steel does not get stains with air or water and also does not rust. That we all know that. Okay, then next is a coin may be in circulation for many years, almost like 30-40 years. The coins should be intact without any damage. So we need that coin should be in proper condition for that much long time. So that is why it should be the wear resistance as well as the anti-corrosion property should be there in the coin. So these are the different things, and this can be achieved using the metal alloys. And one more thing we can mention about this, that the metal alloys, when you when you produce an alloy from a metal, the properties of metal get acquired by that alloys. As we know that metal is having the property malleability, that same property is possessed by the alloys, and that is why it is very easy to get a coin from the alloys. So that if we hammer just the metal alloys, it will become in a flat shape without breaking. So that is also one of the reason we can use the alloys to made the coins. Okay, so you can see here I have write down half, 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 and half. Like this is the mark distribution for the question. Okay, so in this way, if you write down neat and cleanly with underlining the keywords, you will definitely going to score out of mark in these kind of questions. Then the next question will be the one can sense colors only in bright light. Again, this question from the lenses. Now, as we know that the light sensitive screen of an eye is called as a retina. It is that screen is inside our eye behind the lens, and it has the two type of cells, that is the rod cells and the cone cells. The rod light cells respond to the intensity of the light. Yes, so लाइट अगर ज्यादा होता है कम होता है कौन से कलर्स आ रहे हैं इन सब का रिस्पॉन्स जो है वो लाइट सेल्स देता है दैट मींस जो सेंसिटिव सेल्स है वो देते हैं उसमें भी particularly rod cells they will respond to the intensity of light. That means brightness and dimness के लिए rod cells होते हैं and conical cells they respond to the color and give information about the color to the object of the brain. ओके सो ये हमने देखा कि रॉड सेल्स और कोन सेल्स क्या करते हैं. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस रॉड सेल्स जो है इफ अ small amount of light is there, they'll start stimulating or they start responding to that one. So rod cells respond to the faint light or dim light, but conical cells do not respond into the dim light. They need a bright light to respond, and that is why we can see that cone cells respond in bright light only. And that is why, that is the reason we can sense the colors only in bright light. Okay, again, you can see the division of the marks. In this way, the marks is divided among these points so that you can do not miss the point and get the complete marks. Now moving to the next question. Next question says, anodes need to be replaced with time to time during the electrolysis of alumina. So again, electrolysis of alumina, it is the favorite question, students. So you need to be, that means from the metallurgy chapter, you should not skip this part. Every time when you are going to face any kind of exam, you have to read this topic again and again. Okay, now let's see. Now, during electrolysis of alumina, the oxygen liberated at anode, yes, we know that, the liberated oxygen reacts with the anode to form carbon dioxide gas. Due to the oxidation of graphite rods at anode, they are continuously loaded. This is an unavoidable reaction during the electrolysis of alumina. So only one solution for this is we have to just change the anode rods from time to time once they get loaded. So in this question, you may add the equations which happen at the anode. That is the how the oxygen releases their electrons and the oxidation occurs and the carbon dioxide is formed. Okay, so that also you can mention you in this give reason question. So that is all about the question number 2A. Okay, with the give reasons. So now almost we have seen the first question and second A. Now here I want to mention specifically that those students who are successfully maintained to get these 14 marks, that means question number 1 and question number 2A. So they have the maximum probability to get next, that means all 40 out of 40 marks. The first 14 is the way for the end wale 40 marks. Okay, so be careful while solving up to this, because next questions you will get the more options Okay, in the question two, from question 2b, you will always get the more options for the, that means you can select the many questions among these. Here in part B, answer the following. We have to solve any three questions from the given five questions. So let's say one by one. Explain the term aqua regia. Now, again, aqua regia, we know that generally metals, they react with the acid to form the hydrogen gas. But there are metals like gold and platinum, they do not react with the most of the acids. That means we need some strong, we can say that region which can react with the gold and platinum like metals. Okay, so there is the aqua regia. Aqua regia is the solution because aqua regia is highly corrosive and fuming liquid. Okay, now the noble metals like gold and platinum, they can also dissolve into this region. Now, how they prepare the aqua regia? Aqua regia can be prepared freshly by mixing concentrated hydrochloric acid and concentrated nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. So that means 3 part of the hydrochloric acid and 1 part of nitric acid. If you add them, then the aqua regia is a region has been prepared. In this way, they prepare it. So remember, in the book, you have a very small paragraph on this. So do not miss any information on this to get the complete 2 marks. This question will be for the 2 marks only. Sometimes they ask the same question for 1 mark in the MCQ based question. Okay, so be prepared. Remember the ratio and all that thing. Okay, now next question, that is the write the difference between myopia and hypermetropia. So again, the question is from the lenses. As you know that this is the defects into the eye, and you should remember what is the other name for the myopia and the hypermetropia. So let's see these differences one by one. So myopia and hypermetropia. Now these difference, that means these two things, myopia and hypermetropia, they have a lot of differences they have given into the book. So it's quite possibility is high for this difference that that means board, this question will be asked into the board question paper for 3 marks as well. Okay, so be prepared. इसका अच्छे से preparation करके रखना myopia and hypermetropia. Let's see one by one. In case of the eye, one can see nearby objects. That means in myopia case, the eye can see nearby objects clearly, but the distant objects appear indistinct. In hypermetropia, in this defect, the human eye can see distant object clearly, but cannot see nearby objects distinctly. Again, myopia, that means first point is about the definition. Second point, what happens into that? Far point of an eye is not infinity, but shifts closer to the eye. Yes, as we know that we cannot see the distant object clearly. That means the far point shifted closer than the infinity. And similarly, in hypermetropia, the near point of the eye is no longer at 25 centimeter, but it shifts farther away. Okay. Then in myopia, the image of the distant object forms in front of the retina. That means before retina, the images form. And in case of the hypermetropia, the images of nearby objects form behind the retina. Okay. So these are the points we can take for the image formation. Now, in the next thing, we can see that the curvature of the cornea and the eye. Okay, the next point, it is about the why this defect occurs. It occurs due to the curvature of cornea and the eye lens increases, and the muscles near the lens cannot relax so that the converging power of the lens remains large. And in hypermetropia, the converging power of the lens becomes less because the curvature of cornea and eye lens decreases. So this is the one of the point for the differences. Next one, the eyeball elongates so that the distance between the lens and the retina increases. And second is Due to the flattening of the eyeball, the distance between the lens and the retina decreases. In myopia, this defect can be corrected. That means the corrective measure. What we do, we have to take this defect can be corrected by using spectacles with concave lens of proper focal length. And in hypermetropia, this defect can be corrected by using convex lens with proper focal length. In myopia, the lens with negative power is required for correcting myopia, and the lens with positive power is required for correcting hypermetropia. And the last one, this is not that much important, but this is one of the point you can write down. This is also called as a nearsightedness, and this is also called as farsightedness. So you can see here almost 7 to 8 points can be obtained on these two things. That is why this is a very important comparison between these two terms, myopia and hypermetropia. In the board, they may ask about the nearsightedness and the farsightedness as well. Okay, so we are going to move on the next question. That is the draw label diagram of hydraulic separation method. Now here you can just draw the diagram like this. Okay, now while drawing the diagram should be, that means in answer sheet, it should be like between the 6 to 8 lines only, not bigger than that. So you can see that at the middle of the paper, you can write down, you can draw this diagram. Do not try to draw the diagram at the bottom or only at the top area. Just it should be at the middle of the page. So it will, so that you can also write or label it very well. So you can see that now I'm going to labeling it like you can see this, the water. Okay, so that is the inlet for the water. And the next one is the powdered ore. We pour the powdered ore from the top. This is the tapering like pot, or we can say that equipment. Then ore suspension is there. Okay, and the gang will come out from the top. Okay, as well, the very important, that is the concentrated ore we can obtain from the bottom of this system. So by this hydraulic separation method, we can obtain this. So remember that, try to remember all those diagrams which have maximum labelings. Those are the favorite diagrams for the paper setter, because there is a more than sufficient things to write about these diagrams. So remember, you have to prepare for all kind of these diagrams which have maximum labeling with them. Okay, so that is how you are going to draw it. After drawing, you can see that the labels are on, I tried to put maximum labeling on one side only. Okay, but do not try to attempt it forcefully, that it is not convenient to show that thing on the right side. Okay, so you can see that for me, it's a convenient to show the water from the left side of the diagram. So I shown it like that. But rest, if it's possible, you have to just write it on the right side of the diagram. Okay, so follow this one. Do not write the labels while writing the labels. Use the highlighted. That means I don't mean to say the different colors, but just use the proper pen or to write down these labelings. Okay. So this is the hydraulic separation method, and this will, you can see that the diagram will get the 1 mark and labeling is also for the 1 mark. So diagram should be appropriate. Do not miss any part from that diagram. Okay. Next one is an object is placed. That is the numerical. An object is placed at distance of 20 centimeter from converging lanes of focal length 10 centimeter. Determine the position, size, and the type of the image. So you can see that in this numerical, they have given you us some data. That is the object distance as a U is the 20 centimeter. Now the minus sign is because according to sign convention, we put the object always left of the lens. The focal length is 10 centimeter. Obviously, it's a converging lens, so focal length will be the positive. And then you can see that we have to find out the image distance V, image size H2, and nature of the image. Okay, so the solution, we are going to use the lens formula like this. Now, here we have to find out the V. So try to keep only term which has the V at one side and send the rest of the terms to the other side like this. So it will be a little bit convenient, and after that put the values. Now here you put the values with their sign as well. So here you can see that value of U is the minus 20, and after solving this you are going to get the answer as a 1 upon 20. Okay, so that is the answer, 1 upon 20 for 1 upon V. That is why value of V is become 20. Okay, so you can see the half mark for the lens formula, and then once you get the value of V correctly, you will get the next half mark. Then for next thing, for the magnification thing, we know that M is equal to V upon U. So again, along with the values, we are going to put it, and magnification becomes the -1. So here -1 has the two significances. That means there is a no magnification. That means the image distance is equal to the object distance, and that is the real image we are going to get. But that image is inverted because it has the negative sign. So negative sign shows the inverted image. Real and inverted image we will get on the same. Okay, yeah, this was not the correct. So we are going to get that image. It will be the opposite side of the object. Okay, so it will be away from the lens from 20 centimeter. Now, next is the complete the following. So they have given, this is an activity based question. In today's question paper, it was a little bit different, but the previous, it was like this. So methods of concentration of ores. So we know there are the different 4 methods. So we can put one by one. So you can see that first is the Wilfley table method and the hydraulic separation methods. Both are based on the separation based on the gravitation. Then next is the magnetic separation method, and the next one is the flotation method. Again, there is a 5th method also. If you do not remember any one of them, you can put instead of that like a leaching. Leaching is also one of the method of concentration of ore. So you can see that you have to write down any 4 methods out of this 5. Okay, so that is why I have put this dotted line. So it is not necessary and not compulsory to mention the 5th one. Okay, if you mention the 4, that is sufficient for you to get the full marks. So each method carries half mark. Now the next question number 3. Now again, question number 3 is the question where you can obtain maximum marks. So you have to attempt maximum question. Minimum 7 questions you should attempt. If you are very sure about getting the marks about the questions, then at least try to attempt question 7, number of questions as a 7. So in this question, first question, it says define following terms with respect to the lens. You can see principal axis, optical center, and radius of curvature. Okay, so here when you say the principal axis, the definition as it is, the imaginary line passing through both centers of curvature is called as a principal axis of the lens. It will give you 1 mark. Then optical center, the point inside the lens on a principal axis through which light rays pass without changing their path is called as an optical center of the lens. And the next one is the radius of curvature. The radii of the sphere whose parts form surfaces of the lenses are called as radii of curvature or radius of curvature of the lens. Okay, so here 1 mark for the 1 definition. These are the very straightforward questions. You have to just write down the definitions for this and you will get the full marks. Okay, now next question. The next question says, explain in detail magnetic separation method. Now, basically this question is a little bit lengthy question. You have to write down all the things. And if you draw the diagram, that will be the added advantage. Okay, so try to draw the diagram so that you can confirm your all full 3 marks. Okay, so let's see. The diagram is also important here. So let's see one by one. So the magnetic and non-magnetic ingredients in the ore can be separated by magnetic separation method. Next, this method requires an electromagnetic machine. Okay, so you can see this is the machine that you can draw this diagram, the 2 wheels, that means the rollers, the powdered ore, and how the 2 collectors are there for non-magnetic ingredients and the magnetic ingredients. Okay, So remember the labeling as well, because again, you can see this diagram has a maximum labeling. So quite possibility is high for this diagram. It will be asked into the board also for the labeling the diagram as well. So please prepare for this also. Okay. Now we'll go for the how the construction and the working. Now we have seen the diagram. Now the construction. The main part of the machine are two types, that is the iron rollers and the conveyor belts moving continuously around them. One of the roller is non-magnetic while the other is the electromagnetic. Okay, so they have the magnetic property. The conveyor belt moving around the rollers made up of leather or brass, that means it is of the non-magnetic materials. Then how it works, when the conveyor belt start to move, okay, the powdered ore is poured on that conveyor belt near the non-magnetic roller. Two collector vessels are placed below the magnetic rollers. The particles of the non-magnetic part in the ore are not attracted toward the magnetic roller. Yes, so they do not have the non-magnetic properties, so they cannot get attracted. But those who has the magnetic property, they will be attracted and they can be collected there. So at the same time, the particles of the magnetic ingredients of the ore stick to the magnetic roller and therefore fall into the collector vessel near the magnetic roller. So in this way, you can write the answer for this working of the magnetic separation method. Okay. Now the next is again a numerical. Here in this numerical, they say solve the following example. A 3 centimeter tall object is placed perpendicular to the principal axis of a convex lens of focal length 15 centimeter. The distance of object from the axis is 18 centimeter. Find the nature, position, and size of image. Also find its magnification. Again, this is the ये फिर से एक क्वेश्चन है, न्यूमेरिकल है और इसे हमें सॉल्व करना है. तो पहले as usual we are going to write down the given data. Object distance, it is given as a u where it mentioned as 18 centimeters. So we are going to write down as a minus. Remember, object distance is always negative. In any case, कोई भी situation, कोणताही लेन्स असू द्या, कुठलाही न्यूमेरिकल असू द्या, तुम्हाला ऑब्जेक्ट डिस्टन्स हे नेहमीच निगेटिव्ह लिहायला लागणार आहे. Okay, and the focal length obviously converge and concave, convex and concave lens. त्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला बघायचंय focal length positive असते convex साठी, concave साठी negative असते. Here we are using the convex lens and the object height is the 3 centimeter. Object height is the h1. Now to find image distance, that means these things we have to find: image size, nature of the image, and the magnification. So again, the solution same way. Lens formula, we have to find the object distance, the image distance, that is why 1 upon v is equal to 1 upon f plus 1 upon u. Put the value and finally we are going to get the value of v as a 90. Okay, it will again give you the half mark till this. Now the next one, it is about the magnification. So how to find the magnification? M is equal to v upon u. Now remember to put the value of u as a minus 18 only. Many students, they just write down 18 here and their answer will be wrong. Though the answer is same, the sign is different and the answer will become wrong. Your conclusion will become wrong. Here the magnification is negative. That means the image is 5 times. It is the real, but it is the inverted, as we can see the negative side. So m is equal to h2 upon h1. So h2 will become magnification into h1. So magnification is minus 5 into 3. That is equal to minus 50. And that is how we are going to say that inverted image of an height is 15 centimeter obtained 90 centimeter away from the lens. Now, it's a सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं, the very important point is you have to always mention or write down the answer statement while solving the numerical. Okay, again, you have to be very careful about the units, whatever you are going to use there. So mention along with the units, the answer statement should be there, else half mark will be deducted from your correct answer if there is no answer statement. Okay. Now, next question is question number 3-4. It says draw a neat, well-labeled diagram of the following. In case of convex lens, draw neat ray diagram to show the position, nature, and image formed by the lens in the following cases. So they are going to give us the cases. The first case is the position of object at infinity. So we are going to see how we are going to draw the diagram. Okay. So now first we are going to draw as a one axis, the principal axis. Okay. On that principal axis, we are going to place one lens. Now here you can see that I have mentioned here the lens along with its focal length, and that means the f1 and the 2f1 point. This is the radius of curvature. We know that. Okay. And now this is the f2. That means the focal length of the on the other side also. So now the next thing is like here it is given that just a moment. Here they have given that the lens is, that means the object is placed at the infinity. Okay, object is placed at the infinity. So that is why the ray of light is parallel to the principal axis. That is why we are going to show the parallel ray. And according to the rules, when the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction, it must go this principal focus. Okay, so this will go like this. And another ray that is also parallel to the principal axis, and after refraction, it will pass through the focus. So that is why we can say that the image will be formed at the focus. Now, here the position of the image will be at focus. The size of the image, you can see it is the point size image, and the nature of the image, it is the real and inverted image we are going to get. So after drawing this diagram, you are going to get the one full mark for the position of object at infinity. Now the next condition is position of object at 2f1. Now again, we can see here the one principal axis. Now this principal axis, we are going to place one lens. And now for this lens, you can see different points like principal axis. On the principal axis, there is a principal focus and the center radius of curvature as well. And then here this is position of object is at 2f1. So we have put the object as usual. The one ray which is parallel to the principal axis should pass through this f2, and the other ray should be again directly go passing through the optical center. So it will be go without any bending, and it will meet at one point. If you draw the line here, that means the image of that object will be at 2f2. So in this way, you can easily get the diagrams. So get your concepts very clear while watching this. Okay, so you can see that the position of the image is at 2f2, size of the image, same size image we are going to obtain, and nature of the image is real and inverted. That is the thing. Okay, because magnification will be 1 as the object distance and image distance is the same. Okay, so in this way you can draw this diagram. Then our next one is the position of object between f1 and 0. So again, the principal axis you will get, and then this convex lens, and these are the different points. Now this is the position of the object between f1 and 0, O. So that is why we can see here the object is here. Then the ray first is parallel to the principal axis, must go to the f2, and another ray which is go straight forward. Now here we can see that these two rays are never gonna met toward the right side. Okay, so if a person look from this right side, he will see that these rays are coming from this point, and he will obtain the image here. So again, this image will be behind the object. That means from the same side of the object. जिस साइड पे ऑब्जेक्ट था उसी साइड ये इमेज फॉर्म होने वाला है, ये याद रखो। और आगे जाके हम देखेंगे पोजीशन ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट कहां पे आ गया, ऑन द सेम साइड ऑफ द लेंस एज द ऑब्जेक्ट। साइज ऑफ द इमेज इज वेरी लार्ज, एंड नेचर क्या रहेगा, वर्चुअल एंड इरेक्ट। दिस इज द ओनली कंडीशन जहां पे जो कॉन्वेक्स लेंस है हमें वर्चुअल और इरेक्ट इमेज देता है, एल्स ऑल अदर केसेस इट विल गिव अस द रियल एंड इन्वर्टेड इमेजेस। ओके, तो ये भी एक जो कंडीशन है, ये इंपॉर्टेंट कंडीशन है, तो ये कंडीशन के लिए डायग्राम्स ड्रॉ करके देख लेना। ओके, सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। चलो, तो दैट इज अबाउट द 1 मार्क। तो ऐसे 3 मार्क का 3 डायग्राम्स हो गया। नाउ द नेक्स्ट वन इज द क्वेश्चन 3। ऑब्जर्व द गिवन फिगर एंड आंसर द फॉलोइंग क्वेश्चन। ओके, तो आपको ये फिगर दिया गया है और आपको एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने हैं। नेम द मेथड, एक्सप्लेन दिस मेथड एंड गिव 2 एग्जांपल्स। सो इट्स अ वेरी इजी ऐसे क्वेश्चंस मैं कहता हूं कि आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा अटेम्प्ट करो, क्योंकि ये स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड, एक का आंसर लिख दिया 1 मार्क मिल गया, दूसरा लिख दिया दूसरा मार्क मिल गया, तो ये स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड होता है, इस पे कंफ्यूजन नहीं होता, हमें मार्क मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा ऐसा हमें कोई डाउट भी नहीं रहता। ओके, सो नेम द मेथड, सो इन दिस इफ यू सी यू हैव टू, ये कौन सा मेथड ये हमें देखना है, तो ऑब्वियसली कोरोजन के प्रिवेंशन के लिए ये मेथड यूज किया है। नेम द मेथड, इट इज द इलेक्ट्रोप्लेटिंग। ओके, now electroplating क्या है, explain this method. In this method a less reactive metal is coated on more reactive metal by the electrolysis. So बुक में जो डायग्राम दिया है इसमें दिखा गया है कि एल्यूमिनियम के स्पून पे हमें सिल्वर का कोटिंग देना है, तो लेस रिएक्टिव मेटल कौन सा है हमारा, सिल्वर, उसका कोट किस पे दे रहे हैं हम, एल्यूमिनियम पे, दैट इज द मोर रिएक्टिव मेटल। तो इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस से ये प्रोसेस होता है। इन गिवन डायग्राम सिल्वर मेटल इज कोटेड ऑन द एल्यूमिनियम स्पून बाय द इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस when current is passed through the AgNO3 solution। अभी AgNO3 solution ये यहाँ पे दिया है because you can see in the textbook they have given you the diagram, वहाँ पे specifically mention किया हुआ है it is the Ag, that means silver के molecules है और NO3 के molecule, sorry silver के ions है और NO3 के ions है, तो इससे ये reaction होता है। okay, so in this way you can get the different ions and the reaction will be forward like this. Ag plus moves toward the cathode and NO3 moves toward the anode. So silver is deposited on the spool. So in this way we can get the reaction completed. Now the next question, give 2 examples. So silver plated spool and the gold plated ornaments. These are the 2 examples which can be obtained using the electroplating of the substance. Okay, so next question, describe, 6th question है, describe Bayer's process for concentration of bauxite। तो bauxite ore, that means aluminium का ore है, उसका concentration का process, this is again very important। अब तक बोर्ड ने वैसे Bayer's process पे ज्यादा कुछ पूछा नहीं है, बट ये डेफिनेटली आने वाला होगा। ओके, तो बी प्रिपेयर, अभी इस साल ये पूछ सकते हैं क्वेश्चन, बिकॉज काफी टाइम से इस क्वेश्चन पेंडिंग है, ड्यू है, ऐसे बोल सकते हैं। ओके, separation of impurities present into the bauxite ore is done by the leaching process using Bayer's process। obviously Bayer process मतलब पूरा एल्यूमिना तक देखना है, बट उसका इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस हमें देखने की जरूरत नहीं है। इन दिस मेथड द कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड एल्यूमिना इज ऑब्टेन्ड बाय द कैल्सिनेशन, जहां पे कैल्सिनेशन होकर एल्यूमिना मिल जाएगा, हम रुकने वाले हैं। ओके, सो डोंट वरी, ये बहुत बड़ा है ऐसा नहीं है। तो बॉक्साइड ओर इज द फर्स्ट ग्राउंड इन अ बॉल मिल, तो ऑब्वियसली पाउडर फॉर्म हमें मिलेगा उससे। उसका कंडीशन देखिए, रिमेंबर दिस वन, when the bauxite ore is leached by heating with concentrated solution of caustic soda at 140 to 150 degrees Celsius under high pressure for 2 to 8 hours in a digester। तो ये सारी कंडीशंस हमें बुक में ऐसी दी हुई है, वो वैसे ही याद रखनी है। इससे भी अच्छा है आप जब इसका इक्वेशन लिखेंगे तब वो याद करने में आसान हो जाएगा। सो नाउ ऑल दीज थिंग्स यू कैन राइट डाउन इन अ इक्वेशन, सो इट विल बी वेरी इजी। तो डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू राइट डाउन द इक्वेशन, इक्वेशन हमें लिखना ही है। देखो इक्वेशन बहुत इजी इक्वेशन है, Al2O3 2H2O plus 2NaOH, this gives us the sodium aluminate। okay, so पहले आप देखो रिएक्टेंट्स कौन है और प्रोडक्ट्स कौन है, उसके बाद उसको बैलेंस कीजिए। सो यू कैन, अभी आपका प्रैक्टिस इतना हो चुका होगा कि आप खुद से उसको बैलेंस कर सकते हो। सो इन दिस वे यू हैव टू बैलेंस इट। अभी देखो ये इक्वेशन अगर आप याद रखोगे तो आपको ये सारा जो लिखा हुआ है वो सब याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज आपको टेम्परेचर का कंडीशन पता चल जाएगा, हाउ मेनी आवर्स यू आर गोइंग टू कीप इट हियर, एंड हाई प्रेशर उसमें होता है, उसके प्रोडक्ट क्या होते हैं ये सब आपको पता होते हैं। सो यू कैन सी हियर बॉक्साइड प्लस कॉस्टिक सोडा, इट गिव्स यू सोडियम एल्यूमिनेट एंड द वाटर। अब the iron oxide in the gang does not dissolve into the aqueous sodium hydroxide। तो हमें पता है कि इसके साथ जो impurities है, जैसे कि आयरन ऑक्साइड है, सिलिका है, टाइटेनियम है, ये सारी चीजें यहाँ से निकल जाती है। सिलिका तो डिसॉल्व हो जाता है एक्वियस NaOH में, सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड में, बट गैंग बाकी जो है जैसे कि आयरन ऑक्साइड वो डिसॉल्व नहीं होता, तो वो मिक्स नहीं होता, तो उसको हम फिल्टर आउट करके फेंक देते हैं, तो उसका हमें कोई यूज नहीं है टू अचीव द our desired metal like aluminum। okay, तो उसके बाद after that sodium aluminate is diluted by putting water into it and it cools up to 50 degree 50 डिग्री सेल्सियस पे AlOH2 का प्रेसिपिटेट जमा हो जाता है। वी आर गोइंग टू कलेक्ट दैट प्रेसिपिटेट, और बेयर्स प्रोसेस के इसके ये होता है सारा बेयर्स प्रोसेस में, और इसके बाद वी आर गोइंग टू फिल्टर, वॉश एंड ड्राइड दैट प्रेसिपिटेट, और फिर उसका कैल्सिनेशन करेंगे. कैल्सिनेशन मीन्स इन absence of oxygen we are going to heat that, and at 1000 degrees Celsius we will do that, and we will get the alumina Al2O3 after heating that for at 1000 degrees Celsius. Okay, so एल्यूमिनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड का हमें एल्यूमिनियम हाइड्रोक्साइड मिल जाएगा. यहां तक ही हमको इस प्रोसेस को फॉलो करना है, उसके आगे हमें लिखना नहीं है, यहां तक ही बेयर्स प्रोसेस लिखेंगे. उसके बाद जो है वो इलेक्ट्रोलाइटिक रिडक्शन रहेगा Al2O3 का. Okay, so in this way we can write the answer, and you can see here again how the distribution of marks at the right. Okay, now the next question, explain the various parts of human eye and their working on the lens. For 3 marks ये बहुत बड़ा question है, but अगर डायग्राम बिकॉज इसमें अगर आप सिर्फ ह्यूमन एयर दैट मीन्स ह्यूमन आई के पार्ट्स ही अगर मेंशन करते तो भी बहुत हो जाएगा, तो बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन हो जाता है. डायग्राम्स वैसे अभी के लिए इस 3 मार्क्स के लिए इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है डायग्राम का, बिकॉज इसमें दैट मीन्स इट विल बिकम अ वेरी लेंथी क्वेश्चन अगर डायग्राम के साथ हम ये सब करेंगे तो. ओके, सो वी स्टार्ट विद द स्क्लेरा. इट इज द व्हाइट पार्ट ऑफ एन आई विथ प्रोवाइड द प्रोटेक्टिव आउटर लेयर. Cornea is nothing but the transparent cover. Okay, you can see that light enters the eye through it, and maximum amount of light, which is incident light, it is refracted inside the eye from the cornea. Then next is the iris. Iris is nothing but the dark fleshy screen behind the cornea. It decides the color of an eye, and there is a small hole of changing diameter at the center of iris, which is called as a pupil. So pupil का भी work लिख देंगे. The pupil controls the amount of light entering the eye. Okay, if the light falling on the eye is too bright, pupil contracts, while if the light is dim, it widens. Okay, so ये प्रॉपर्टी है, दैट मीन्स डिम लाइट में हमारी आंखों में जो प्यूपिल्स है वो वाइड हो जाएंगे, और ब्राइट लाइट में द प्यूपिल विल बिकम स्मॉल. Then lens, we know that we have a bulge of a transparent layer. So डबल कॉन्वेक्स ट्रांसपेरेंट क्रिस्टलाइन लेंस होता है जस्ट बिहाइंड द प्यूपिल. प्यूपिल के जस्ट पीछे ये होता है, एंड ये प्रोवाइड करता है एडजस्टेबल फोकल लेंथ. ओके, सो लेंस जो है वो हमारी एडजस्टेबल फोकल लेंथ की होती है, बिकॉज वी नो दैट ऑब्जेक्ट का डिस्टेंस चेंज होता है, इमेज का डिस्टेंस हमारा फिक्स है आंखों में. दैट मीन्स लेंस से लेकर रेटिना तक, इसलिए ये अभी एडजस्टेबल फोकल लेंथ जिसकी है वो लेंस हम यूज कर रहे हैं. Okay, so this lens creates real and inverted image on the screen, that means on the retina. So ciliary muscles इसमें help करते हैं. Ciliary muscles hold the lens in the position, and it helps changing the shape of the lens. Okay, so retina, it is the screen made up of the light sensitive cells, and the optic nerve, it transmits the visual signals from the retina to the brain. तो ये सारे डिस्क्रिप्शन में आप मैक्सिमम पॉइंट्स लिखो. देख सकते हो आप कम से कम 6 डिफरेंट पार्ट्स जो है उसके फंक्शन लिखो. half mark each part को मिलेगा, और you can get the all 3 marks on this. Then the next question, list the methods used to protect the metals from the corrosion. ये भी अब favorite question है. बोर्ड एक मेथड जरूर पूछता है when it comes to the corrosion of the metal. तो ये 5 मेथड जो बुक में दी है वो हमें करना ही करना है. That is the following are the different methods to protect metal from the corrosion: galvanizing, tinning, anodization, electroplating and the alloy. तो इसमें से ये 4 आपको लिखने हैं. आपको इसमें से ये 5 मेथड्स आप लिखेंगे, आपको 1 मार्क मिल जाएगा. अब इसमें से कोई एक मेथड को आपको डिस्क्राइब करना है जो आपको 2 मार्क्स देने वाला है. तो मैंने 5 मेथड दिए. लेट्स सी द गैल्वेनाइजेशन. इन दिस मेथड द थिन लेयर ऑफ जिंक इज अप्लाइड टू प्रिवेंट कोरोजन ऑफ आयरन और स्टील. To apply the zinc coat, a sequence of processes are carried out like costing, cleaning, pickling, deep influx solution, drying, and finally zinc bath. Do not try to attain the diagram because ये diagrams repetitive है और वो time consuming हो जाएगी 2 marks के लिए. Okay, at the end of the paper attempt करने के बाद अगर आपके पास time है तो फिर आप ये diagram निकालिए. Okay, in case of galvanized metal, corrosion of zinc occurs first because zinc is more electropositive than the iron. That is why it slow down the corrosion process. After a few rainy seasons, the zinc layer goes away and the inner iron get exposed. Obviously, आप रस्टिंग को या फिर कोरोजन को कुछ देर के लिए प्रिवेंट कर सकते हो, उसको पूरी की तरीके से हम खत्म नहीं कर सकते, हम स्टॉप नहीं कर सकते. ओके, सो ऐसे मेथड लिखेंगे, हमें 2 मार्क्स इसमें इसके मिल जाएंगे. देन टीनिंग. नाउ इन दिस मेथड लेयर ऑफ मोल्टन टीन इज डिपॉजिटेड ऑन द मेटल. द ग्रीनिश लेयर फॉर्म्स ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ कॉपर और ब्रास वेसल. इट इज वेरी पॉइजनस. कॉपर कार्बोनेट का लेयर जो है पॉइजनस होता है. Even if you put the buttermilk in or curry in such vessels, it will get spoiled. Then tinning is done to prevent all such damages. Tinning also called as an coloring. Now the next is the anodization. In this method, you can write many things. Anodization is a process in which metals like copper, aluminum are coated with thin and strong layer of their own oxides. तो ये खुद का ही ऑक्साइड का लेयर अपने मेटल के आर्टिकल पे बना सकता है. So using anodization हम ऑक्सीडेशन करते हैं. So oxide layer of metal is strong and uniform all over the surface. It is useful for prevention of the corrosion of the metal. When aluminum is anodized, the thin layer of aluminum oxide is formed. It obstructs the contact of aluminum with oxygen and water. This prevents further oxidation. ओके सो ऐसा एनोडाइजेशन मेथड यूज करते हैं. इसमें आपको डायग्राम भी अगर निकाल सकते हैं तो वेल एंड गुड. आप एनोडाइजेशन का डायग्राम इसके साथ ड्रॉ कर सकते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज द इलेक्ट्रोप्लेटिंग. जैसे अभी हमने प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन में इलेक्ट्रोप्लेटिंग देखा था, तो इलेक्ट्रोप्लेटिंग भी यहाँ पे आप लिख सकते हो. तो इलेक्ट्रोप्लेटिंग में आप डायग्राम निकालेंगे. हियर यू कैन सी द AgNO3 का सोल्यूशन एंड हाउ द Ag मूव्स टुवर्ड द स्पून एंड हाउ द NO3 मूव्स टुवर्ड द सिल्वर प्लेट. That is the anode. तो ये भी आप इसमें दिखा सकते हैं and you will get the complete marks. And the last one is the alloy. So alloy nothing but the homogeneous mixture. जो coin वाले question में हमने जैसे दिया था वो सारे points भी यहाँ पे add कर सकते हैं. Bronze is an alloy of 90% copper and 10% tin, and it is not get affected by the sun and air, as we know that alloy का meaning purpose ही वही है. Okay, the stainless steel is also an alloy. It is made up from 74% iron and 18% chromium and 8% carbon. Okay, so give these examples as well along with the percentage, so you will not going to lose any mark. And then the last is the question number 4. Now in the question number 4, it says that explain the working of compound microscope with the help of diagram. So we are going to I'm going to explain the diagram and then the how it works. Okay, working भी उसका देखेंगे. तो डायग्राम 2 मार्क के लिए रहेगा उसका. लेट्स सी वन बाय वन. तो ये प्रिंसिपल एक्सिस है. उस पे पहले हमने एक लेंस दिया है जो है हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव लेंस, और इस ऑब्जेक्टिव लेंस का फोकल लेंथ यहाँ पे हमने मेंशन किया है. ऑब्जेक्ट जो है फोकल लेंथ के जस्ट आगे रहेगा. ओके, और जैसे ही रे पैरेलल रे कम्स, इट पास थ्रू द फोकल लेंथ एंड द सेकंड रे इज द passing through the optical center, which is without bending, it's traveled straight. जहां पे intersect होगा, at that place you will get the image. Now ये image हमें कैसा चाहिए कि इस दूसरे वाले लेंस से, जिसको हम बोलते हैं अगेन द दूसरा वाला लेंस जिसको हम बोलते हैं आईपीस. आईपीस ऐसा एडजस्ट करना है कि आईपीस के फोकल लेंथ के अंदर वो आना चाहिए. देखिए आईपीस का फोकल लेंथ यहाँ पे और यहाँ पे ये इमेज आ गया. Now this image act as an object for this lens. Okay, so यहाँ पे again you will see the first ray, it is passing through this, and second ray like this, and you will obtain the image of the same side. Inverted image मिलेगा, वो भी बहुत magnified, 2 times, 2 lenses के magnification के बाद ये image हमें मिलेगा. So in this way you have to draw the diagram and try to understand this diagram. ये कैसे बनाया है. अगर ये समझ में आया, सब कुछ चीजें याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, कंडीशंस हमें पता होनी चाहिए. दैट्स इट. ओके, सो इस डायग्राम को 2 मार्क्स है. इसके बाद वी आर गोइंग टू राइट डाउन अबाउट द कंस्ट्रक्शन. कंपाउंड माइक्रोस्कोप कैसे बनाया जाता है अब यूजिंग द 2 कॉन्वेक्स लेंसेज, ऑब्जेक्टिव एंड आईपीस. ऑब्जेक्टिव हैज अ स्मॉलर क्रॉस सेक्शन and smaller focal length. Eyepiece has a bigger cross section and the focal length is also large. The axis of both lenses are along the same line. तो उसके principal axis दोनों के same line पे. Higher magnification can be obtained by combining effect of the 2 lenses. The magnification occurs in 2 stages. The दोनों stage लिखेंगे. The image formed by the first lens act as an object of the second lens. The lenses are fitted inside the metallic tube in such a way that the distance between them can be changed and clear image can be obtained. So ऐसे हमें working लिखना है, 3 marks उसमें मिलेंगे. So moving to the last question of the paper, that is the explain electrolytic reduction of the alumina with the help of the diagram. तो अभी हमने देखा है कि इसमें मेटलर्जी का ये जो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है इलेक्ट्रोलाइटिक रिडक्शन ऑफ एल्यूमिना, वो अब हम देखेंगे. तो कहाँ से है डायग्राम इसका ड्रॉ करना है, जैसे हमारे बुक में है वैसे ही ड्रॉ करना है. अगेन मिडल ऑफ द पेज अच्छे से दोनों साइड में थोड़ी थोड़ी जगह आनी चाहिए लेबलिंग के लिए. रिमेंबर यू हैव टू पुट द लेबलिंग. तो स्टील टैंक, मिक्सचर ऑफ एल्यूमिना विद द क्रायोलेट फ्लूर स्पार्क, ग्रेफाइट रॉड्स दिखाने हैं, एनोड दिखाना है, कैथोड दिखाना है, molten aluminum दिखाना है और आउटलेट फॉर द molten aluminum, ये सब इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। ये नीचे जो हम लिखते हैं एवरी टाइम, द टाइटल ऑफ द डायग्राम, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, इलेक्ट्रोलिटिक रिडक्शन ऑफ एल्यूमिना, ये भी करते जाओ। ओके, सो ये डायग्राम किस चीज का है वो यहाँ पे हमें पता चल जाता है। ओके, नाउ अबाउट द जो व्हाट ऑपरेशन इट हैज, दैट मींस इलेक्ट्रोलिटिक रिडक्शन ऑफ एल्यूमिना कैसे होता है। So electrolysis of molten mixture of alumina, that is its melting point is more than 2000 degrees Celsius. It is done into the steel tank. The tank has a graphite lining inner side पे, जो हमें पता है, जिसको हम कैथोड बोलते हैं, और a set of graphite rods dipped in the molten electrolyte work as an anode. Cryolite and fluorspar is added, so melting point is up to 1000 degrees Celsius. In this process, aluminium is deposited on the cathode on passing electric current. So molten aluminium being heavier than the electrolyte, it collected at the bottom of the tank and it takes out from there from time to time. Oxygen gas is liberated at anode, and liberated oxygen reacts with the anode to form the carbon dioxide gas, which we have already seen in earlier question. The anodes have to be changed from time to time as they get oxidized during the electrolysis of aluminum. Now, also you have to, here compulsory you have to write down the reactions at the electrodes. That is the anode reaction, like this, oxygen, it loses the electrons, that is called as an oxidation. And at cathode, the aluminum will gain the electron and it will become the aluminum metal, तो उसका ये reduction हो गया है। तो ये diagrams हमें, ये equations हमें लिखनी है। So after finishing this, definitely we are going to get the all 3 marks in this question. 3 marks for the working, and the 5 marks in that question. So in this way, you can get the your answers correct with the mark distribution, and hopefully you understand how to write the answer sheet while attempting this, and wish you all the best for the future exams. Thank you.